Hi, my name's Corinna Lain, and I'm a professor at the University of Richmond School of Law. I write on the death penalty, and I'm here to break down the Supreme Court's recent ruling in Madison versus Alabama in 2 minutes or less. Let's go. Madison is a case in which a condemned inmate, Vernon Madison, had a series of strokes during his time on death row that have caused permanent brain damage and left him with a condition called vascular dementia, which means that Madison suffers from dementia and cannot remember his crime. By the way, no claim of malingering here. You can see the brain damage on the MRI. All of the parties agree Madison really can't remember. And that's where the Supreme Court comes in. Under the Supreme Court's Eighth Amendment cases, states can't execute the insane. That's just mindless vengeance, the Supreme Court has said, and it violates the Cruel and Unusual Punishments Clause. So the question in Madison is whether Vernon Madison qualifies as insane for the purposes of execution, or, to put it another way, whether he's competent to be executed. The Supreme Court has said that condemned inmates are not competent if they lack a rational understanding of the reason that the state wants to execute them. Alabama says that Madison has this understanding. He understands that the state wants to execute him for the murder of a police officer back in 1985. He may not remember the murder, and the state might have to keep telling him because he keeps forgetting. But he does remember. And besides, the state says, insanity requires some sort of psychosis, and Madison doesn't have it. The Supreme Court in Madison versus Alabama said the question of insanity is not about the diagnosis, it's about the consequence. Can he understand or can't he? And just because he doesn't remember doesn't mean necessarily that he doesn't understand. It's relevant to the inquiry, but it's not determinative either way. So is Madison competent to be executed? No drum roll here. The Supreme Court didn't answer that question. It couldn't tell whether the lower court understood that it's not about the diagnosis, but rather about the effect, so it remanded to the state court to make that determination on its own. And that is my fast take on Madison versus Alabama.